Hey, what's going on guys? It's ETA Prime back here again. The guys over at the Odroid Retro Arena have released a standalone version of RetroPie for the Odroid XU4, and I figured it's time to test out some PSP games. So in this video, I'm going to be testing 7 PSP games: Burnout Legends, Crash Tag Team Racing, Crisis Core, God of War, Killzone, Ratchet Clank, and Tekken Dark Resurrection. If you're not familiar with the Odroid XU4, it's an 8-core single-board computer. It's a pretty powerful single-board computer, and I've done a ton of videos on it. I'll leave a playlist in the description below if you want to check out some older videos. I'm also going to leave links to the Odroid Retro Arena Facebook page. From there, you can join their Discord and ask any questions you'd like on installing to what games work best. I'm going to start out here with Burnout Legends. I'm going to go to Settings, make sure Frame Skip is turned off, and I just want to show you what settings I am using in the PSP emulator here. So, like I just showed you, Frame Skip is off. We have the rendering resolution set at 1x PSP. I have all the hacks on, all the speed hacks that we can turn on. I also have the splines at low, and I have the FPS on. So the FPS will be listed in the top right-hand corner. We'll go ahead and start Burnout Legends, and I have a save file loaded for most of these games, so I'll just load it here. And this video turned out a lot longer than I wanted it to be, so I left the box art up when I start a new game. You'll see the box art for about 10 seconds, and the FPS is also listed in the top right-hand corner. So this game runs really well. There's a little bug here. This does use a Mali GPU, and the sun in most of these stages is pretty glitched out, and you'll see that halfway through this race. But overall, the performance of this game is really good. This ran at 30 FPS on the original PSP, and we have 30 FPS here. I'll be interrupting every once in a while when something major comes up inside of a game, but other than that, enjoy the gameplay. So here's what I was talking about with the sun here. As you can see, it's glitching out pretty bad, but I've seen this happen on a lot of Mali GPUs and Android devices and different single-board computers. Next up, we got Final Fantasy Crisis Core. 30 FPS was the original frame rate on the PSP, so we're at full speed here. If you've never played this game, you definitely need to try it out, and as you can see, the Odroid XU4 does run it perfectly. Next up, Ratchet & Clank Size Matters. This is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I love Ratchet & Clank. I do notice the FPS dip every once in a while, but it definitely doesn't make it unplayable. For the most part, it's sitting steady at 30.
Press the L button and R button at the same time to crouch. Press the X button while crouching to do a high jump. Press L button and R button and press select to enter first person mode. Aim and fire the target on the gate to open it. The triangle button to quick select another weapon. Try using the analog stick to select the...
Here we have Tekken Dark Resurrection, running really good, very smooth at 60 FPS. Now the cutscenes did run at 30 FPS on the original PSP. It'll do the same thing here, so that's not a bug.
You win. Round 2. Fight. You win. Get ready for the next battle. Round 1. Fight.
Killzone Liberation. Now this is a hard game to emulate on the SSPP emulator. As you can see in here, it's really struggling. We're only at 10 FPS. I'm going to try to change the frame skip a little bit. It's not going to help much at all. It's just going to make it a little choppy. We'll go to 3, go back into some gameplay. It makes it feel a little bit smoother, but it's definitely not playable. This is just one of those games that's really hard to emulate using an ARM CPU. Speaking of PSP games that are hard to emulate, God of War Chains of Olympus, we're only at 20 FPS. Now I really hate frame skip, but if you want to play this game on the XU4, you can turn frame skip on. It's still going to be a little bit choppy, but the gameplay does feel smoother. But overall, it's really not worth it. The sound is horrible when you have frame skip on, and it's just not a good experience. Finally, Crash Tag Team Racing. Now, in the overworld, you do get 60 FPS. You get 60 FPS here, but it does dip down every once in a while, and the sound is a bit choppy. The game is playable like this, but if you don't want to deal with choppy sound, I'd stay away from this one.
Power-up goodies can be found inside. Use them wisely, my apprentice. Hey, sports fan, let me introduce you to the joys of power slide. You can use it to corner better around sharp turns. Your mother's the speed limit now.
Now that's what I'm talking about. While you're in control of the current gun, use the analog
So overall, this version of RetroPie for the Odroid XU4 does handle PSP a lot better than the Raspberry Pi 3 will. It's not perfect, but there are hundreds of games that will work at full speed on the Odroid XU4. If you're interested in picking up one of these single board computers, I'll leave links down below to Amazon. Last time I checked, they were sold out, but you never know. Keep checking back every day. They could be in stock at any time. I'm also going to leave a link down below to the Odroid Retro Arena Facebook group. You can go grab this image here. If you already have an XU4, just flash it with Etcher or Win32 Disk Imager. Really appreciate you guys watching. If you could, hit that like button and subscribe. And like always, thanks for watching.